It was exactly 3:17 a.m. when I woke up to the screech of tires, a blaring car alarm, and red and blue lights bouncing across my bedroom walls. My heart pounding, I rushed to the window, expecting to see a crime scene. What I saw looked straight out of a Hollywood action movie. Federal agents swarming the neighborhood. But what made my blood run cold wasn't them, it was what was missing. My Jeep. Gone. The same blacked-out military-style Jeep I had carefully parked in front of my house per explicit orders from a federal task force. In its place, a bright orange traffic cone. A sticky note taped to it read, "Code violation, HOA confiscated." I stood there in stunned disbelief. Karen, the iron-fisted HOA president who ruled over Willow Creek Estates like a suburban dictator, had apparently cut the lock off my law enforcement-approved vehicle and had it towed like it was some abandoned junker. She had no idea she had just obliterated a months-long surveillance operation. When the federal agents, fully armed and stone-faced, knocked on my door, their first question wasn't even about the suspects they'd been tracking. It was, "Where's the Jeep?" Try explaining to the federal government that your HOA president stole their surveillance vehicle. A fresh start, ruined. I moved to Willow Creek Estates for peace. After years serving overseas and bouncing between cities, all I wanted was a quiet place for me, my dog, and my motorcycles. For a while, it was perfect, until Karen Farthington made it her mission to destroy that peace. She wasn't just a stickler for rules. She was the rules. She left warnings on doors if your grass was half an inch too long, fined people for leaving Halloween decorations up a day too late. But nothing offended her delicate sensibilities more than my Jeep. "It doesn't belong in this neighborhood," she sneered the first time she saw it. "Looks like it escaped a demolition derby." I calmly explained the vehicle's role in a classified operation. She scoffed. "Nice story, soldier boy. Next time, try a Honda like a normal person." I tried to ignore her, but she escalated. Reports, letters, accusations of parking intimidation. She even labeled my Jeep as an eyesore. What she didn't know was that it was outfitted with surveillance gear for a sting operation targeting a drug ring operating inside our own community. Because of how aggressive and rugged it looked, the Jeep blended in. No one suspected it had GPS, remote cameras, and encrypted storage. The fewer who knew, the better. That's why I never told Karen, and that's why it was parked exactly where the task force had told me, right in front of my house. I even locked the wheel with a heavy-duty clamp. It made the vehicle look stationary and secure. But to Karen, it was a challenge. She reported it 5 times. Each time, the local authorities explained that it was legally parked. She didn't care. And one day, while I was out running errands, she acted. Karen's criminal mistake. Karen hired a private tow company, clearly one that didn't ask questions. Before they arrived, Karen stormed up to the Jeep with bolt cutters and snapped the wheel lock clean off. My neighbor Rick captured the whole thing on his ring cam. In the video, Karen grins at the camera and says, "One less eyesore to worry about." When I got home, the Jeep was gone. I thought it had been stolen until I saw the cone and the note. I called the police task force immediately. They did not take it lightly. Within 30 minutes, they were at my house. When they saw the footage, one officer went pale. "She cut the lock?" I said, "and towed it without authorization." He muttered, "That's obstruction of a federal operation at minimum." From that point on, everything exploded. They issued an emergency retrieval order, but the Jeep wasn't at any local tow yard. Karen had moved it somewhere off the books. The sting operation was officially compromised. Suspects scattered. Months of planning gone. The hidden graveyard. The next morning, Officer Melendez texted me, "We found the Jeep. You're gonna want to see this." He picked me up in an unmarked SUV and drove to a back gate behind an HOA maintenance shed. Inside was a hidden lot, overgrown with weeds and filled with cones, tarps, and 3 other mysteriously towed cars. My Jeep was there, scratched, damaged, surveillance box open, and gutted. Melendez shook his head. She's running her own impound yard. Then, as if summoned by chaos itself, Karen showed up. "Oh, good, you found it," she chirped. "I assumed you knew the HOA had the right to—" "Step away from the vehicle," Melendez snapped. Karen tried to play innocent. "I thought it was abandoned. I was helping." No one bought it. Melendez had her escorted away while the feds documented everything. Rick, who, legend that he is, showed up with a lawn chair and cooler and said, "Should I put this on Facebook now or later?" Turns out Rick had everything. Karen's letters, Facebook posts bragging about towing the Jeep, her rants about cleaning up the streets. The fall of Karen Supreme. The emergency HOA meeting that followed was legendary. Karen arrived 15 minutes late in a red blazer and a smug smile. But when I played the ring cam footage and showed her mocking Facebook posts, the room turned ice cold. Detective Sasha Lynn stood and announced the legal findings. Karen had bypassed protocol, tampered with federal property, used an unlicensed tow service, and compromised a joint task force. Then came the motion. Suspend Karen Farthington from the HOA presidency. Seconded. Unanimous. Vote. Done. Karen, stunned, screamed it was a power grab. She waved a cease and desist letter from her sketchy lawyer, but Sasha calmly replied, "He's already under investigation." Karen stormed out. Someone clapped. Then everyone clapped. Viral justice. Rick posted the ring cam footage to Reddit. 2 million views in 2 hours. Karen became a meme. TikTokers reenacted her bolt cutter rampage. One guy made a t-shirt that said, "Visual Nuisance, Federal Edition." News vans showed up, HOA meetings were suspended, Greg took over as interim president. The violation committee was dissolved. Karen tried to sue everyone, the city, the HOA, the police, me. Her lawyer argued that I had enticed her into towing the Jeep by making it look too suspicious. The judge laughed it out of court. Then came the audit. Karen had been misusing HOA funds for years. Embezzlement charges followed. And then, finally, came the arrest. U.S. Marshals. Handcuffs. A manila folder clutched to her chest. She didn't scream. She looked like she still didn't believe it. But it was real. A new chapter. Karen's house went dark. She moved out in shame. The neighborhood finally breathed. The HOA collapsed. People planted whatever they wanted. No more passive-aggressive notes. Just community. The police task force gave me a new Jeep, fully upgraded, and deeded me the impound lot Karen once ran. I turned it into the garage, a free workspace for veterans and neighbors. A week later, we held a Jeep parade through the neighborhood. Sasha gave me a plaque that read, "For keeping your cool when your HOA went full villain."